I had to start today's Lego room adventure by cleaning up my mess that I left on my desk from the other day when I was fixing all of the two-way roads in the Lego city. There's just a mess of parts. It always seems the case when you're working on anything having to do with Lego. There's just parts absolutely everywhere, and you've got to sit back and clean it up rather than swiping it into a bucket. I commonly do that. Guilty as charged right there. Luckily, all of these parts were relatively easy to sort because they're pretty much all of the same part types, which makes that pretty nice because you just put them in the containers where they belong and then file them back away into the part system. It's funny, I'm cleaning up these parts, but I'm about to make another mess building more roads. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. It's Jordan here. Today we're going to continue working on the roads in the new Lego City layout, specifically the one-way roads. In order to build one-way roads, you need a whole bunch of half base plates, which unfortunately I do not have. But I do have a whole bunch of full or 32 by 32 stud base plates, and I have the tools that can be used to convert those into half base plates. So I've got a total of 11 base plates that I'm going to cut because I need 21 half base plates for the roads. Pretty easy, just grab a sharp razor, some 16 by 16 plates or any plates, whatever you want. Attach them to the cut line. I use those as the cut line because that's where the studs line up perfectly. And then boom, just cut them. Not too bad at all, right? It's fairly straightforward. I've done this before with off-brand base plates. They are harder to cut, and I do not recommend cutting off-brand plates because they're just not as good. They're like thicker, and sometimes they have like a bow in the center. Honestly, if you're gonna cut base plates, just cut the Lego ones because they're just Lego quality, even after they're cut. There we go. Now I've got 21 half base plates. Believe me, it pains me to do this. Like, I don't want to cut my base plates, but Lego doesn't make 16 by 32 base plates anymore, and they don't sell them. So what am I going to do? Buy old retired ones off Bricklink for an inflated price? Or am I just going to cut the base plates that I have? Because I literally have, I think, close to 60 spare base plates. It cost me nothing to do this, and now I've got 21 half base plates ready to go for the one-way roads. And technically speaking, I actually got those green base plates 20% off, so they're $8 Canadian, so each half base plate is only $4, so that's actually not too bad. So the next thing I need to do is go around and collect all of my 16 by 16 road plates, which are currently laid out in the Lego City. They're acting as one-way roads. And with all those cleared out, on both sides of the modular block, I now have a giant stack of road plates and a giant stack of base plates, and it's time to start building. So these road plates are pretty easy to build. I build them the exact same way that I build my standard road plates on 32 by 32 base plates. You've got to put the underlying plate, so I put some 2x plate underneath the 16 by 16 road plates, and that supports them underneath. It puts them at the same height as my regular road plates. And then what I do is I fill in the 1x4 openings with 1x4 plate, and then I'm able to attach the light gray 2x plate along each side of the road, and that's actually just going to be my sidewalk extender that'll come off the sidewalks of the modular buildings. It just adds 2 additional studs for minifig spacing and for details like street lamps and stuff like that. And yeah, just got to build a whole bunch of these. Pretty simplistic stuff here. I know the tiles, they don't look that good, like the 2x4 tiles in the center of the roads. They don't look like overwhelmingly nice. The only other option is to brick build roads, and I am just not at the point where I want to brick build all of my roads. That would just be like bonkers. That would just be so many parts in such a huge project. Maybe one day I'll do that, but for now I'm just using the Lego City road plate packs. I've got a whole bunch of them, plus I had these base plates, so this project is literally costing me nothing. And I'm not actually adding more roads to the Lego City. I'm actually reducing it a little bit because rather than having two-way roads, which take up a whole 32 by 32 base plate, I'm actually converting those into one-way streets, and they just technically take up way less space. Granted, I've added more one-way streets than there were two-way streets from the old layout, but still, in general, there's less space taken up by road in the new layout, which is a positive thing. Pretty happy with it. So I built 16 of the 21 road plates required. I didn't build them all because some of them are going to have to be specialized. They're going to need crosswalks, or they'll have to be T intersections, or have specific garage pull-ins, etc. I also didn't tile them all off. Luckily, I have some tiles on order, and once those arrive, I'll be able to tile them off. Now we've got to place those in the Lego City and build some of the specialized ones. So yeah, it's time to install the roads. Pretty exciting times. Just gonna put the plates in and then sort of slide them down. It is pretty awkward and hard to reach some of these areas. That's why I decided to start with the back row, because that area is pretty easy to reach, but the ones in the front row, not as much. So yeah, I tack them all together with the 2x4 tiles just because it keeps them nice and straight. Why wouldn't I do that? Makes sense, right? But they are really easy just to pop out and move if I need to move a specific road. The gas station pull-in has to have a customized one, so I actually removed the 2x light gray sidewalk, and then I clipped the road plate right into the gas station because it's actually built on road plates, so that makes it nice and seamless. So it's pretty cool. Vehicles are going to be able to just pull right in. However, there is no white line. Once again, brick-built roads could solve that problem for me. And then I've got to take care of a little custom one right here. This is just a T-intersect where a two-way road meets the one-way road. I already had some plate laid in there, and I just got to fill it all in and make it work with the sidewalk so it connects with the other sidewalks using some of that 2x light gray plate. Now we're coming around the corner by the boutique hotel and also the train station. There is a little pull-in for the train station so vehicles can pull in, drop people off. It's easier for me to just custom build some of these like weird funky ones right where they sit just because it makes it easier. I don't have to go back and forth to my desk and sort of look at it. I can just work and spot right there. So I am hauling parts over to the little access hole that I'm standing in right now. And I decided that I'm going to build a weird one here that's actually 64 studs long because I want to add some crosswalks. I don't have the right parts right now to do it correctly, so I'm just going to double up one of them and then slide it in spot there in front of the Disney costume shop. And you'll see that it's actually double long and has a crosswalk on either end of it, just so the spacing works out right. And then finish off some of the sidewalks with more of that light gray 2x plate. Now we've got the main street here by the modular buildings. This is the one that's really hard to reach, so I've got to move some of the modular buildings, get those out of the way, and then once again just place road plates in a big line and sort of slide them down the street and then connect them all with the dark gray 2x4 tiles. Looks like I'm gonna have to pause the time lapse just because fixing these roads up so that they're actually properly integrated involves a lot of stretching, reaching, building, moving, and coordinating a camera with that becomes rather difficult. Oh, I'm also running low on the 2x4 dark gray tiles. That's why my desk has become a graveyard yet again. I am salvaging every tile that I can possibly find. So I'm just chipping away here and the details are coming along nicely. We've got the pull-ins figured out for the fire brigade there and also for the corner garage. Should line up when we get the corner garage placed back in the city. It's currently on the floor right down there. Now, something I didn't do is add crosswalks to the roads. And the reason I didn't do that is because I don't have the blank 8x16 road plates yet. And on a 32x32 base plate, sorry, 16x32, that's what we're using here because I chopped them in half, right? But if I offset it with a crosswalk, then I have to offset it with two crosswalks. So the only way that I could evenly distribute the crosswalks is if I string 2 or 3 base plates together, similar to what I did with this one here. But I don't want to do that with all of them because then they're not as modular as I would want them to be. And my plan is to add crosswalks that are placed properly once I get those 8x16 blank road plates in stock here. So once I get those, then I'll be able to add crosswalks. So that's why they're not here right now. Now, I just thought of something. I'm missing a bunch of tile, right? As I mentioned earlier, I've got these buildings over here in like my temporary graveyard that are all tiled off in light gray. Those ones there, and also the old Sanctum Sanctorum. So those should give me enough tiles to tile off at least some of those road plates. So that's what I'm going to do next. So there we go. Now these one-way streets over here are fully tiled off. I wanted to do the ones in the foreground just because I see these more regularly. Hey, you know what? I was thinking to myself yesterday, well, today too, when I was working at my desk, I was like, this is so cool because now when I'm working at my messy desk here, guess what my view is? It's all modular buildings. Isn't that a cool view? Whereas the modular buildings used to be down over there. Originally, I kept them over there because I thought it would be pretty, well, I thought it was cool that when you walked into the Lego room, the first thing that you saw
was modular buildings. But now I see the McAllister's house and the Simpson's house and of course the beach and the old fishing store and the lighthouse and the Quickie Mart and all the residential buildings, and I think those are cool as well. So it's nice to change it up. Now I've got different views. These used to be like buried way back there, and now they're not. But yeah, these streets are definitely looking pretty good up front here. Pretty happy with that. We'll have to add some details such as traffic lights, lamps, and minifigures. I typically do that all at once, also fire hydrants, but I typically do that all at once just because it makes sense. You're already ripping up the sidewalks to put jumpers in or 2x2 plates in so that you can position and pose your minifigures, and you may as well put trees and all those details in at the same time because you're already ripping up the sidewalks to do that, right? But I always like adding those details last because similar to vehicles, they just get in the way as you're sort of reconfiguring everything. And then the sidewalks back here are just not fully tiled off yet. Those pieces from Denmark take forever to get here. Don't ask me why 2x2 light gray tiles are not on the bestseller list, and they ship like they should ship out of the US, but they're shipping out of Denmark. I have no idea why that is. Do you think they would be a bestseller? I know I've personally ordered probably well over 10,000, which is crazy to think. Hey, you know what? I did remove this plate. It was actually between Diagon Alley and the bowling alley. And you know what? I just put it there just to place it somewhere for now. I didn't plan on permanently having it there. But now that I've removed that plate, this building can slide. There was a comment earlier, like in one of my last videos, that said, hey, you should put a parking lot out front of the bowling alley. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So I will be doing that. I think it's actually a pretty sweet idea. I still haven't decided whether or not I'm going to focus on the Winter Village or do Diagon Alley on my diorama table way over there. I did like the comment that said, hey, why don't you just do your Winter Village for the month of October, November, December, and then once winter is over, or like once Christmas is past, then why don't you do Diagon Alley? And I think that actually makes sense because then it's the best of both worlds. I don't have time to do Diagon Alley like right now before the holiday season, so I'm probably going to go with that, and that's why I decided to keep Diagon Alley in the city. I want to address another comment that said, I liked your old Lego City layout because you had Pop Culture Street, and Pop Culture Street was so cool. I agree. I sort of miss Pop Culture Street. Now I've got Diagon Alley back here, the Avengers Tower right there, the Daily Bugle right there, the Ghostbusters HQ over there, and then Sesame Street over here. So the reason I did that is just because, I don't know, I had Pop Culture Street in my Lego City for so long, and I wanted to just split it up a bit. Plus, I know eventually Diagon Alley is going to be leaving the city and going on the diorama table. So I didn't want to set it up specifically to have a Pop Culture Street. One thing I could do is I could relocate Sesame Street, and I could put it where the corner garage is right there, and then at least we would have the Daily Bugle, the Ghostbusters HQ, Sesame Street, and the Avengers Tower looming in the background. So we have the majority of Pop Culture Street altogether because the Sit Complex is right beside the Ghostbusters HQ. The only thing that would be missing, I guess, is the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is just around the corner, and Diagon Alley. I don't know if there's a way that I could reconfigure it. I was trying to work on having like the levels of height and also the buildings going laterally. I just think that's really neat. There was another comment that said, hey, why did you put the skyscrapers in the middle? It's blocking the back. Well, if I were to put the skyscrapers at the back, like for example, if I were to put the skyscrapers where Diagon Alley is, then it would do a really good job of blocking my raised platform, which I worked so hard on for so long. And I don't really want to block the Lion Knight's castle. And to tell you the truth, I guess they are blocking back there, but like when I'm standing right here, I can see stuff behind the skyscrapers. Like I can still see all that stuff. Whereas if I were to put the skyscrapers where Diagon Alley is, I think they would do a better job of blocking the stuff on the raised platform. So they're not really in the front, they're sort of like in the center, and you do have like viewpoints where you can actually see the stuff around them. Is this going to be my permanent layout? Layouts always change. Modular building positions can very easily change within this layout. This is going to be like my general layout, like I want to stay or stick with this, but maybe buildings could shift around slightly. But the actual block format for now, I am going to keep, because I've worked hard on it and I've changed up all the roads, and I really like it because I've consolidated downtown with downtown, skyscrapers with skyscrapers, modular buildings with modular buildings, and the biggest one being residential with residential. But hey, look at that. We cut a whole bunch of base plates today for the Lego City. I just had to. There was no way that I was going to order 16 by 32 base plates. That seems absolutely outrageous. The streets are pretty much ready for details now, which is amazing. Once the the non-crosswalk, the standard 8 by 16 road plates arrive, I will be adding crosswalks to the city. And maybe I should wait for those before adding vehicles, or maybe I should just get it done, because I never know how long those pieces take to arrive from Denmark. I hope you enjoyed my video here where we completed the roads in the Lego City. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff, and have yourselves a fantastic day. Farewell!